You know, in 2022, in my opinion, you should quit your job. And this won't apply to some of you, but the vast majority of you, this will apply to. If you're watching this, if you're kind of unhappy in your job, if you don't like it, if you've not liked it for a while, if you don't get on with your boss, if you're spending your time, so every day, like Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, you're going to a job, a place you don't enjoy, and the only reason you're going there is to make money, in my opinion, you should quit like tomorrow. And I'm going to get into why and how you can do that. So I do have some other videos on this channel about kind of how to create passive income, how to make your own business, but more specifically how to make a business that you actually enjoy. And this is going to be the focus on this, is that life is not here for you to just do a job that you don't like for 50 years and then die, or retire and then die. That's not the purpose of life. The purpose is to actually come here to do a mission, to share and do something you're passionate about, that you actually enjoy. And we kind of get pulled into this trap through the monetary system of feeling like we have to do a job we don't like just because we need to pay the bills, or just because we need money to buy groceries. On one level, that is kind of true, in the sense that you do obviously most people have bills, things they need to buy with money, and we live in a society where you need money to do things. I completely get that. Where I would disagree is that people think that having a job is the only way to make money. Making money through a job is one way out of an infinite number of different ways that you could make money. I would argue it's the worst way as well, or at least one of the worst ways, because you can't claim tax expenses, so you basically have to pay tax on everything, even if you use your car to go to and from work. Anyway, there's loads of pros and cons, more cons than pros. So if you have a job you don't like and you've been thinking about quitting, I would say this 2022 is the year to do it, or really any year after kind of 2020 that you're watching this is the year to do it. Because what have we seen in the last 2 years? Okay, so what we've seen is governments printing billions and trillions of dollars worth of their currency out of thin air. And if you know anything about the economic cycles and how the inflation and banking systems work, that's not good. Like if you just print an infinite amount of a currency, all that does is makes prices go up and makes the value of each individual unit of that currency go down. So if you're not giving yourself or getting a 10 to 30% raise every single year without fail, your salary is decreasing every year because of inflation and because of the value of the currency. It's easy to mask this by just focusing on one specific type of inflation. Like you could say, oh, well, look at house prices, they've stayed the same or even gone up. Or, look at the price of gas, okay? But that's a very limited part of a much bigger picture. If you look at the cost of everything and then you average that out, costs are going up every month essentially, and the value of the currency is going down every single month because they keep printing it, they keep creating it out of thin air, and that debases and devalues the currency. So my point is, most jobs don't give you a 30% raise every single year, or even a 10% raise. So you're not even keeping up with inflation. So it's no wonder that people are struggling now, because their salaries are either staying the same or they're scratching their way to get like a 5% raise, a 10% raise, even a 15% raise every year. That's not enough. If you look at the cost of things, and it's only going to get worse, essentially, this economic problem. And by the way, I'm not even mentioning the actual problem of having a job, which is that you have no time. It takes almost all of your time every week and the best part of your energy. So you have no time, energy, willpower, motivation, or inspiration left to start your own business and actually try and escape the trap. This is why they call it the rat race, or the rat trap. Not that it's anyone's fault, and it's not necessarily a bad thing for most people, but I would say for a large percentage of people, it's a trap, and it's an avoidable trap if you know how to escape it. So how do you escape it? And this is why I made this video. So first I want to explain why you should quit your job in 2022, and then I want to explain how you can quit your job. So most jobs, let's say if you have a full-time job, it's like 40, maybe 50 hours a week. You have an hour of commute either side, or sometimes if you're lucky you have half an hour either side. Then you have indebted time either side of the commute as well. So you have half an hour or so getting ready, maybe ironing your uniform or your tie, replying to messages, kind of setting yourself up for the day. So ultimately, you're spending best part of 10 hours a day, Monday to Friday. Now, outside of that, there's very little time left to play with. So it's hard to start your own business and it's hard to escape that. So you have essentially 10 hours a day where you have to work for someone else. Now, there's several choices, several ways you could go with this. You could go the route of working outside of the job hours. So let's say you start work at 9, so you could wake up at, let's say, 5, 6, 6:30 and get an hour or two in before you get ready for the day. That's option one. And I'll explain in other videos, or maybe at the end of this video, what you can actually do in that time to build up an income to be able to quit the job. So that's option one. Option two is that you try and reduce the hours you're working. So if you're working 10 hours a day, Monday to Friday, try and negotiate working a 4-day week. And then on that 5th day, on that Friday or Monday or whatever, you work like hell, building your own income passively or online. And then eventually you negotiate that down to 2 days and 3, and you negotiate the days that you work for yourself up to more. And then eventually you can either quit or switch to a different job, which is 2 days a week, part-time. And what this does is it means obviously you have all of your time back, more or less, but you still have that regular income coming in to cover base expenses just in case something happens, to ride out the waves of the storm. As you build your own business, because it won't be smooth sailing. There'll be some months where you earn nothing, some months where you earn a bit more, and it kind of averages out. So you need to be able to weather that storm, and the best way of doing that is either savings or having a part-time job, like 1 or 2 days a week. That just gives you that base income of a few hundred or a few $1,000 or pounds per month. So I hope this makes sense. So that's the options in terms of like the time it's going to take. In terms of actually how do you do it, and this is the exciting part, I might even have to make this into a whole hour-long webinar in another video, because there are millions, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of different ways of making money. A lot of them are online, but they don't have to be online. They can be literally anything. I would suggest you do online, because with online you can automate things. It can become passive. You don't need to spend, once you've set the system up, you don't need to spend your time doing it. You can just add things onto it, build it, grow it, set up another stream, that kind of thing. Whereas when you have, let's say if you have, you work for yourself, but it's a physical business, that's better because you can decide your own hours, your own pay, give yourself raises, hire people, put expenses that you were going to pay anyway on as a tax deduction. There's all kinds of stuff you can do that are better as a self-employed physical business owner. But along with that, you're essentially buying yourself a job. In most cases, you're still trading your time for money instead of trading your value for money. And whenever you trade in any profession, whenever you trade your time for money, that doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's not at all. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. What I am saying is that mathematically you are limited, because there's only, and you must know this, right? There's only so many hours in a day, only so many days in a week. Even if you worked 24 hours a day every day and you didn't need sleep or food, you would still be limited, because that's the amount of hours there are. You can't expand on that. So selling time for money is never a good idea unless you're selling other people's time for money, in the sense of let's say if you're a business owner and you're hiring people to trade their time for money. So and this is why you get paid more by doing that. It's because you're essentially creating more value. Let's say if instead of being off the top of my head, let's say if you're like a plumber, right? Now, the worst position would, in my opinion, be to work for somebody else, trade your time for money, get a fixed paycheck, and be an employee. Slightly better than that would be to own your own plumbing business, be self-employed, work for yourself, so you can set your own hours, money, and have your own freedom, but you're still trading your time for money. It's a bit better and you'll probably get paid more, but you're still limited. Better than that would be to own a plumbing business, and you can grow this from, you can start small, then hire 1 person, 2 people, 3. And instead of you spending your time doing the plumbing work, you're actually going to spend your time growing the plumbing business. So you're going to be doing ads, marketing, and then hiring people to actually do the physical plumbing work. And in this case, you're going to be earning even more. and having even more free time as a result. And then one step above that would be to create a digital, and let's use the example of plumbing, to turn that into a digital business. So what that would look like is that, let's say if you know a lot about plumbing, you film yourself talking about plumbing, basically. Let's say you make a video course, or you write a book, an ebook, or even like a video course or a membership area or something like that, where you're teaching someone through the form of video or ebooks. Now, once you've made that product, once you've made that video course, you can essentially sell that for the rest of your life, and you don't have to be involved in that process. You can set the systems up that sell that course for you, and it becomes passive income. So now you can go and do what you want with your time. If you want to scale it, you can just pay for more ads or create more content that draws more people into it, that then sells the course. But you essentially now, at this point, have all of your time, and you can decide what to do. You can make another course, you can make a course about a different topic, make a YouTube channel about something else. And the benefit of that is that you not only have the passive income, have your time, but you don't really have many expenses. Your costs are very low because you don't need to rent an office, you don't need to even have a car, you don't need to hire anyone if you don't want to. It's essentially all passive and all automated. So that's just one example. That's using the example of a plumber. You can apply this to anything, and the more interesting or value-driven the thing is, the easier it is to make money from it. And you can make money online from literally anything, like any hobby you have. Let's say you like kayaking. There are many multiple $million businesses just based around kayaking content, like literally just people, selling courses on how to be a better kayaker, how to kayak better. Or there are people who make several millions of dollars per month just writing reviews on their website, reviewing kayaks. Like the possibilities are completely limitless. But the key here, if you take away one thing from this video, it is that if you at all have any opportunity to do this, you should ideally turn what you know and love, your passions and knowledge, into an automated online business where you sell a digital product. As soon as you've done that, the hard part is over, and it's really now just a case of finding people to buy that course. And there's a lot of easy ways of doing that as well. But now is the time, because the reason I'm making this video now is because I've seen, not just through people I know, but through people online and through just being aware of what's happening in the world right now. Governments are printing billions of dollars. The currencies are becoming much less valuable, but people are still expected to trade their time for that same reducing in value currency. That's not going to end well. You only have to look at history to realize that that's not a good idea. If that continues, we'll be in a bit of trouble. So now is really the time, and especially if you've seen, all the countless companies that have just fired people left and right. They've just laid people off. People have gone on to government income support, social credit support, furlough, whatever it is in your country. And it's really just shown how unstable having a job really is. That stable job that you thought was going to be there forever can just vanish overnight. Literally, like a government can just decide on a new set of rules and regulations, or they can decide to take away more freedoms for some reason, right? And suddenly that stable job is gone, and you're left with essentially nothing, or a very limited temporary paycheck from the government, which could just, again, vanish at any time, and it has. And yeah, unless you have built up an online income, or at least some kind of income for yourself, if you're reliant on one job and one income, in 2022 and onwards, that's not a very good idea, especially when it's so easy to build your own income, or at least it's easy to start building your own income. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll try and make a longer video explaining more about this.